Good evening. I'd like to call our meeting to order. Ms. Steele, if you please call the roll.
Mr. Gibson?
Here.
Dr. Orth? Mr. Hutson?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Chriscoe?
Here.
Mr. Bazzani?
Here.
Mr. Nicosia?
Here.
All present.
Okay. At this time, we're going to have our invocation by Pastor Mike Freeman, and after which we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance by Briley Nichols, fourth grader at Achilles Elementary School.
Father, we just thank you for allowing us to be here together today. In order to not, I'm reminded today of what Solomon prayed for. He prayed for an understanding heart, Lord, that would be able to discern what is right and what is wrong. And God answered his prayer by giving him wisdom. So tonight, Lord, I pray for wisdom for all the decisions that are being made here tonight. And may all these people have a heart, Lord, that wants to please you and please the people of this community. And thank you for the people that you have put in place tonight, Lord. And I thank you again that we have a community that we can look up to, Lord. That we have a God who we can look up to. And Lord, we are blessed to be part of this community as we work together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay. Riley?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Briley. Okay. Approval of our minutes from July the 15th.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Approval of the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any matters presented by the board? No matters presented by the board?
I'll take one.
You take one?
I'd just like to congratulate everybody that got elected last night and look forward to working with them.
Yes. Okay. County administrator items.
It's just a quick couple of reminders and then maybe a little bit of irritating or bad news. November 18th, we'll be meeting early for the next meeting because we'll have the tour with the historical architect or the architectural historian. And on November 22nd, we have the board retreat. Now, the rough news is from Cox, and it doesn't seem like it's been a year, but they do give us notice of when they're going to do a rate increase, and so they will be doing a rate increase on December 3rd, and that's going to affect their video and internet services. Those who are doing internet may have a $4 increase depending upon their service plan, and in looking at the TV packages and other subscribers, it's most of them are going from $9 up a month, and some are going $15 up a month, and then there's a few other small ones. So I'm a Cox subscriber too. Like I said, I wasn't very happy, but I wanted the public to know about it. So at least you'll have a forewarning, and when it comes in the bill, you'll know.
Can I, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
does that have to go through the SEC for them to do rate increases like that?
No, not like this. And I think this is pretty common right now because there are fewer and fewer subscribers of cable television as more people are streaming. So it's a transitional time, and Cox sold part of their business to another company. They're still calling it Cox, but there's just a lot of transition, and they're not the only ones having the issue.
Okay. Is that it for you, Ms. Steele? Yes. Thank you for that bad news. It's okay. At this time, we have no scheduled presentations. Public comment. Public comment. Yes, Mr. Cohen.
I'll keep this rather short. Good evening, members of the board, Madam Administrator, audience. My name is Larry Cohen. and I'm in the York District. I want to address myself to the item which is a resolution amending the fiscal year 2026 budget. Those of you at the board here who have it, there's an item called Utilities Fund, $506,168. But there's nothing within the resolution which says who pays that money. Who pays that money? The 85% of the persons who have septic and well water? I don't think so. The 15% who exercised their right of choice to join the utility board, for better or for worse, and they're going to have to take care of that. And there is no reason why this board, which unanimously approved a split of this previously, should be backdoored by not having a straight line in this which says that those persons who are going to be responsible for that are the 15% who have the utilities, which was a choice they made, and choices have consequences, and this is the way that should be. So I would ask that the board consider adding a sentence here which makes clear that those who will be paying will be the utility holders. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? Yes, Whitney.
Paul Burlingame, Ware. The county does not allow homeless people to reside in a camper on their relatives' land. This causes people to become really homeless and puts their problems back on the county to help them. There are numerous places for assistance, but they do not lift the families up, only minor temporary assistance, which is never enough. I would like the county to allow homeless to stay in campers like my son and my wife are currently doing. They live with my daughter in her camper and on her property. The camper is brand new. It is not trashy. I was told by the county administrator that during the meeting to clean up Gloucester, the discussion of homeless people staying with relatives. Indeed, she verified that in later exchange. Why is it okay to have an empty trailer on your property, but you can't use it to support your family members? I would like to see the Gloucester County start caring more for our homeless instead of hiding them behind Food Lion and Sonic. If the county would allow this, then they would be handed on a case-by-case basis of punishing families for trying to take care of their own. The more families can help their own, the less the county and state have to worry about. Please allow families to do more while the county and state do less. That's the last one, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Whitney. Okay, next we'll move into our public hearings. First public hearing is a public hearing to consider an ordinance repealing Chapter 6, 7.5 of the County Code and enacting a new Chapter 6 Erosion and Stormwater Management Ordinance. Mr. Wilmot and Mr. Laundrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The materials associated with this matter begin on page 62 of your agenda packet. Primarily because of recent amendments to the state code, it is incumbent upon the county and other localities in the Commonwealth to combine their stormwater management ordinances and their erosion and sediment control ordinances into one model ordinance or a version thereof. Pursuant to that dictate, Mr. Landry, who's at the dais or podium, and I have worked together to combine current Gloucester County Codes Chapter 6 and 7.5, dealing with erosion and sediment control and stormwater management into one proposed amended chapter, repealing the former two chapters and enacting a new chapter into one chapter, dealing with both topics. And this makes sense, believe it or not. A dictate from the General Assembly doesn't always make sense, but this one appears to make sense because it combines the two. It makes it easier to refer to, it makes it easier to comply with, and in some respects, it lessens the amount of applicable regulations. So Mr. Landry here, who is the Director of Environmental Programs here for the county, is here to do a brief presentation in anticipation of a much anticipated public hearing on the matter. So there you go.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilmot. Good evening, everyone. I will have an even briefer presentation than I had last month regarding this topic. So as you recall, I was here last month and had a presentation regarding the consolidation of erosion and sediment control, Chapter 6, and stormwater ordinances, Chapter 7.5. And we'll go again through it briefly and take a look at what we have. So basically, I'll be talking about the history and the purpose of combining these Chapter 6 and 7.5 into a new Chapter 6. What is out with the old ordinance, what is in with the new, and Gloucester-specific changes that are not required but very helpful to environmental programs and the county in general. So brief history. In 2016, the General Assembly directed the Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, to combine the erosion and sediment control regulations with stormwater. Then in 2019, a RAP, or Regulatory Advisory Panel, met with a goal to basically three things: reduce confusion, redundancy, and conflicts between the two closely related programs. And then in 2023, the State Water Control Board approved the Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Regulations to be effective July 1st, 2024. And with that, so what is out with the old? So we had a Gloucester County Stormwater Board for Appeals that has never existed at in any shape or form, and it was never created in the first place. So appeals will now be to the circuit court, which is the same as the erosion and sediment control ordinance is currently. There will be no more separate erosion and sediment control program or a stormwater management program in their independent entities. What's in with the new? So the new program is called Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Program, VESMP. The new Stormwater Management Handbook, version 1.0, replaces a shelf's worth of handbooks. Certainly, I dealt with this very much when I was at DEQ. We had a handbook that was created in 1992, and it took over 30 years to get it updated. So this was a long time coming, having the new consolidated document for the handbook for inspectors to use. Also, we'll have an agreement in lieu of stormwater management plans for farm buildings or structures, like we do for single-family dwellings. Folks can sign the application for the agreement in lieu of. They won't have to do a complicated stormwater management plan if they're just doing simple farm buildings or structures. Stormwater BMP inspections, we'll have those for existing installed structures. We're working with GIS to implement that next year to ensure that they're maintained. We have stormwater maintenance agreements for those BMPs, or best management practices, and it would be nice to begin the inspections of those so they can be maintained. We also have the new Virginia Runoff Reduction Method spreadsheet 4.0 for technical criteria, and I won't get too technical about that. So this will better reflect the phosphorus ban that we currently have in Virginia fertilizers. And also, this new singular ordinance is 18% shorter than the current two ordinances.
Mr. Bazzani?
Yeah,
Yes,
just a quick question.
sure.
The reduction spreadsheet, or is that the same formula we saw years ago about no one knowing how it worked and like a black box calculation? Is that the same thing?
I'm not sure exactly. It's a standard that's been used since 2014 that engineers had to use, and it's pretty well laid out. There's constants that engineers have to fill in. It's relatively simple once they get into it. So yeah, and it's basically reflecting the current phosphorus ban over time. That's been implemented for the ban has been implemented for Virginia fertilizers, and so this spreadsheet allows engineers to better reflect that in their stormwater calculations.
Okay, thank you. And I saw that, you know, you're going to propose changes, or are there changes that have been highlighted in this version that we see in our packet? That what changed, so we can see what the changes are when you combine 6 and 7 together? Were there any new additional requirements, or you just combined two sections together?
Yeah, we're really combining. I mean, there was a
Nothing
lot of
new. redundancy.
redundancy. A lot of the definitions and things were all the same. There was a lot of redundancy between the two programs. Erosion and sediment control came along in the late 80s, and then stormwater came after, and it's kind of like the big brother, and kind of replaced erosion and sediment control in many ways. And it's really what makes projects function is the stormwater management. But erosion and sediment control, you know, there was just a lot of overlap between the two programs. And so this is, you know, making it 18% shorter. Following one regulation instead of two is going to be helpful to folks as well. And we'll talk about just a little bit in the next slide as well,
Sure.
some
So there's
additional
nothing,
changes.
there's nothing that you believe would add additional requirements because you combine the two chapters together?
No, no,
Okay.
no,
Thank you.
no.
Other than the after-the-fact permit.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
we'll
he's
just-
going to get to in a second.
Okay.
So these are the Gloucester-specific changes. So we'll be having the doubling of stormwater land disturbance permit fees for after-the-fact permitting. And that is similar to the building department for building and trades permits that they do currently. And that's just for after-the-fact fees. Our current land disturbance permit fees, they haven't been changed since the last century. So they still remain relatively low at $45. And also, this is one thing I'm really excited about, is the expanded use of county contract inspectors. And so as a manager of environmental programs, it's imperative that we have a program that is in compliance with the state. And we just don't have the staff to hire 3, 4, 5, 10 people. And if we get big projects, it'll be hard for us to maintain compliance, as it has been, as it would be for solar projects that we have. Fortunately, we have county contract inspectors that are currently utilized on utility solar scale projects. And as some of you know, even with that, with the help that they've provided, we've had challenges on these large solar projects. They're land intensive, and so it's been a challenge, but we're making it through. This new ordinance will expand that use beyond just solar facilities, and it'll be for any large project over 30 acres. And this will be no cost to the county. The expenses will be passed on to the developers. We pay the inspectors directly, and then we invoice the developers, so there's no conflict of interest. This will help to maintain the compliance on big sites with limited staff. And really, that's it. If you have any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank
Okay.
you.
That's all I have.
Yes, Ms. Steve.
You want to ask if there's any public comments?
No board member questions yet? Okay, any public comment?
Thank you.
Any public comment? No public comment?
Any written comments?
Any written comments? Whitney? No? Okay. All right, do we not have a resolution? I want to close the citizen comment, public hearing, and we have a resolution on page 63.
So moved. Second.
Moved and second, all in favor?
I think you
I
got to
can
vote.
do a roll call.
Poll.
Dr. Orth? Yes. Mr. Hutson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chriscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bazzani?
Yes.
Mr. Nicosia?
Yes.
And Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Okay, next, public hearing to consider resolution amending the FY 2026 budget. Ms. Callaway is not here, so Ms. Steele is going to be.
I am a stand-in,
Stand-in.
not a substitute. There's a big difference. Ms. Callaway is at a training and couldn't be here tonight, so I'll handle the next two matters. I sent the board with information that she had provided back in September in one of your weekly reports, letting you know that this was going to be coming. She, did a forewarning. When our budget goes over that 1% greater than what we had adopted, we by code have to amend our budget. We normally do this about December, as we've been in a pattern of having things change, but because of the school HVAC borrowing was a main reason that sent us over the amount. And what she tried to do is pull everything forward that we think that might require the amendment, so that hopefully we won't have to do this again later this year. And if you look at the utilities fund that is pointed out, the 506 that's defined as for utilities is specifically to that fund, and the board can do whatever you would like to do, but when the money is coming out of the fund or going into that fund, that's all straight in with the utilities. It is not part of the general fund. So it would not be additional expenses related to the general fund. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, it's pretty much a standard thing that the code requires. If your budget changes by more than 1%, you need to amend it. And it's a public hearing, so it's been advertised properly, and it's ready for hearing.
Mr.
Were you going to say?
I was going to ask for public comment.
Oh, okay. What is the school HVAC at 1.8 million? What school is that for?
We did an entire.
Multiple schools, okay.
Yes.
Got it, thank you.
Okay. Any public comment? No public comment? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. There's a resolution on page 122.
122.
Second.
Ms. Steele?
Okay, Mr. Hutson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chriscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bazzani?
Yes.
Mr. Nicosia?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
And Dr. Orth? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Steele. Moving on to our regular agenda. Resolution requesting additional appropriations for FY '26. Are you going to be the stand?
So these are the same, yes, these are the same matters. You just adopted your budget. Now it's the appropriation of those funds. And so all the money is matched up.
Okay.
And I'm glad to answer any questions.
Any questions? What page is the resolution?
And
The resolution is on page 127.
127.
So moved. Second.
Second, Ms. Steele?
All right, Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chriscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bazzani?
Yes.
Mr. Nicosia?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Dr. Orth? And Mr. Hutson?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, moving on. Consideration of waste management contract amendment. Mr. Brian Lewis, Engineering Service Director, and Mr. Scott Thacker, Director of Post-Collection Operation Waste Management. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Good.
Thank you, Brian. All right, good evening, Board. What we tried to show on the first slide here was just our WM network in Virginia, Maryland. We have 6 active Subtitle D landfills here in the state of Virginia, including Middle Peninsula. We have 12 transfer stations in the Maryland, Virginia area and DC. Total capacity left in life years of landfills is over 200 years, and that does not include Middle Peninsula's years. That's the other 5 sites. There's over 200 years of life left. Does this take us to the next slide? There we go. We might have to come back to the other one. But our request is, we are requesting a modification of the Gloucester County operating permit to align with the landfill's permit with DEQ. Currently, the daily limit Our Gloucester host agreement says 4,000 tons a day, maximum 660,000 tons a year, with a 5% variance that can be approved by the county administrator. But we would like to change that to make it match the DEQ permit, which says we can take 1.2 million tons a year. Right now, current landfill life is about 36 years estimated. Estimated life of the landfill, if we increase to 1.2 million tons a year, and we actually hit 1.2 million tons a year, is approximately 20 years. That's if we were to hit 1.2 million tons every year. Estimated host fee benefits for Gloucester County. This year, we're estimating $470,000 for our host fees. If we get the 1.2 million tons approved and we actually hit 1.2 million tons, it would be roughly $2.1 million in host fees for a year. Any questions?
Any question? Mr. Bazzani? Yes.
Gentlemen, I sent an email out to each of you indicating my concern about this. We have a landfill that, as indicated here, is going to last us another 36 years, and this proposal will shave off, 16 years from its useful life. I'm concerned that at the time this thing will expire, we will be left holding the bag trying to find another landfill somewhere. Even though we might, they're holding a bag of money in front of us, and everybody likes to get a bag of money every once in a while. I don't think it's prudent for us to allow this to happen, simply because we are going to potentially lose our ability to have a landfill for the contracted time period when it was enacted in 1993. And Waste Management has and no offense to your fine company, but you've got a sweetheart deal in this county with respect to Waste Management. But I'm also going to recommend that for tonight, we have 3 new board members that are coming in January. I would like for them to make the decision as to whether or not we want to proceed with this contract. Right now, I'm voting no, because I feel that we need to look out for our residents, look out for our taxpayers who are going to probably be holding the bag in the future to find another landfill, and who knows how much that's going to cost. 16 years, I'll probably be dead. I'll be 86 years old by that time that it happens, but I want to at least live till 90, 92, 93, or 4, and still have a good viable landfill that they can take care of my trash. So, gentlemen, I propose that we postpone this decision until 3 new board members come in and let them make that decision. We're less than 7 or 8 weeks away from a new board, and I think it's fair not only to us, but also to the new board members who are coming in to make this decision. So I am an emphatic no on this project. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Hutson?
Mr. Jameson, what's your average tonnage per day?
Right now, we're averaging around 2,000, 2,100 a day.
And is that 6 days? It's a half day Saturday. Does that count as a whole day?
No, it's just a half a day on Saturday. We're usually hitting around 1,000, 1,100 tons on Saturdays.
But does that count as a whole day?
It does in a permit, yes.
So you're averaging close to the 660 tons?
No, we're forecasting right now to be 425, 430 for the year.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Gibson?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation. So just to close the loop, just assuming that this proposal was approved, not saying that I support it, but just so the public and our board has the full information, what is Waste Management's proposal for landfill services after 20 years? How could you increase capacity? Would there need to be a new landfill in the Middle Peninsula? What's your solution?
Let me turn that over to Scott Thacker, the area director.
Good evening, I'm Scott Thacker. I'm Director of Disposal Operations for WM in Virginia, Maryland. So there are a lot of options that we could look at if we get to the end of life. To Vince's point earlier, we don't anticipate that we're gonna do 1.2 million tons on day one, and then it's gonna drop the site life down to 20, right? It'd be something more in the middle between where we are now and where the 1.2 million. We just have opportunities coming up very early in 2026 and extending into 2027 that we want to be able to take advantage of if you all are interested in that, if that's something we can, that we can partner on.
But when you say other options, I think we need some specifics. What other options could increase capacity or provide landfill services for our area?
So there are expansions, which we are very familiar with. We have 260, 270 landfills across the country. So you can expand vertically, you can expand laterally, footprint, and you can get 10 to 20 years out of each one of those. And then there's transfer stations. There is permitting new landfills as well. I'm not going to misrepresent that. That's difficult. Expansions.
Are you saying that the existing site would be expanded?
Yes, sir.
And then where, if you're anticipating additional tonnage, where is this additional trash coming from?
So it's long haul from some of our transfer stations. I can take you back to the transfer station slide if that would help. I think, is that a left hand?
Yeah.
Oh, you have it in your hand. I apologize. So if you look at the first page, our transfer station network is in green. It's in Maryland and DC primarily. There are some in Virginia as well, but primarily what we're hauling in currently into the facility here in Gloucester is from Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC. We've just added 2 more transfer stations up there, and there's additional volumes coming from that. And we are limited at the moment as to what we can bring to this facility based on the 660,000 tons per year. Again, the Commonwealth's, our permit with Commonwealth Virginia DEQ allows the 1.2, and I understand your concern about filling that landfill early, but that gap between the two is sort of limiting us as to what we can bring in additional volume to you all.
And with this increased tonnage, you're essentially asking for double the tonnage, which would mean double the amount of tractor trailer traffic on our roadways.
So directionally, that's correct, sir. It is, but it's not a true doubling because a lot of the volume we get on a daily basis at the Middle Peninsula landfill is local, and that is part of that volume as well. So I wouldn't see that doubling in traffic, but there would be certainly more long-haul tractor trailers coming into the facility.
Mr. Bazzani.
So you indicate that Maryland, exclusive of Virginia, Maryland District of Columbia, do they have a demand issue that you're trying to satisfy? That they don't have the capacity to take care of their own trash and they want to bring it to Gloucester County to alleviate their pressure? Is that what's going on here?
No, sir. That's not how I would characterize it. I would characterize it as it's the opportunity for us to use our network in the most efficient way possible.
And you indicate that the revenues would, I don't see that here again, but.
It would go up to.
2.1 million.
Yes, sir.
The county would get 2.1 million if you get up to your maximum?
Yes, sir.
2.1 million?
Yes, sir.
I'm still concerned that we're going to have a landfill that's going to get filled prematurely, and then we are going to probably suffer the same problems that Maryland and District of Columbia is going through, try to find a new landfill somewhere else, and it's going to cost us more.
So if it helps, typically as part of the permitting process for expansions and things like that, we own that in terms of the expense associated with it. We typically ask our host communities for support and assistance with that, but in terms of financial, we typically own that as part of any expansion process. And so, as a matter of fact, Gloucester County is on the permit with us for that facility. And that's pretty unique. That is a true partnership, and that means as part of any expansion, transfer station, any of that, we're going to partner with you on those discussions. It will be years in advance. It will be 10 years in advance before we would have those discussions for planning purposes to give you the level of comfort that we're heading in the direction that you want to head in and give you the security that you're going to have a place to dispose of your waste.
So if this were to be approved, not necessarily by this board or the future board in January, are you going to put this expansion proposal in writing in your contract, amend your contract to include language that would guarantee that you would expand your current facility or find other facilities available to minimize the impact on the taxpayer in this county?
Yes, sir,
You're
we can
willing
do
to put
that.
that in writing?
I don't know that I can give you a guarantee because nothing is guaranteed, so I don't want to do that. But I will tell you, yes, we will pursue expansions We can add that to the amendment that we've already written, and it's part of the package I think you have there.
I'd like
It's the
something
final-
more certain with our good county attorney is good at doing things like this. If we're gonna do this, we need guarantees.
Well,
There's
I
no
will tell you
shirking,
very-
that
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna allow what happened in 1993 happen again in this county. With, uninformed staff or whoever to allow a premature expiration of this landfill. And then the county, I'm a resident, I plan on being carried out feet first out of my house. I don't want to have to worry about whether my taxes are going to go up 20 or 30 cents per hundred because we got to find a new landfill or find some other solution. If you're not willing to put it in writing specifically that you're going to exactly do the promises that you're going to make in writing, then I'm still an emphatic no. And I'm hoping that maybe this board will transfer that decision and let the new board decide whether or not they want to go through with this contract amendment. Thank you.
Mr. Chriscoe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So currently, we're doing 660,000 tons per year. And what'd you say we're averaging per year? 430.
About, this year, we're forecasted around 430.
My bigger concern, and it's a landfill, it's Gloucester County. What is the plan for the other 5 landfills? Are y'all seeking increases in those, or you already have those at your max limit?
There are space at the additional, I didn't mean to cut you off, I apologize. At our other landfills in Virginia on that map, currently, our host community capacity matches our solid waste capacity with the Commonwealth of Virginia, and we have capacity at those other facilities. What we're doing here is simply trying to determine if you all would consider having those two match, because then we will split these tons to gain the most efficient use of the assets in the state. You all are certainly part of that, a big part of it, and we just want to understand how big a part of it would you like to be if that works for you.
Okay, so when was the last time we approached the 660 mark as a receiving or having?
We haven't approached that. We got that, the amendment or the host agreement was changed to 4,000 tons a day and 660, I believe, 5 years ago. I can't remember for sure, but it was somewhere around that time frame. We did get up to around, one year we were above the 500,000 ton mark. I don't know the exact number. I think it was 519, but that's as close as we've ever got.
Thank you.
Dr. Orth.
Mr. Chriscoe actually asked the question I was going to ask about these other landfills, but there are 6 that you operate. Are there other landfills that are operated by other entities besides Waste Management?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And how are they, facilitated by? Do they have the same requirements in terms of tonnage, very similar to what you guys have? And do you have any arrangements with those other facilities to take trash if all of a sudden you exceed a certain mark? Let's say we don't approve this, you'd have to move all that additional trash to the other 5. Hold on.
They wouldn't do that because it's a competitor.
Okay.
So we do have other agreements with other waste disposal companies that we use there. For efficiency's sake, we would use that. If this was a no and the next opportunity was a landfill, we would want to internalize where we could, right, obviously. But that's not always the case that we would never do that. I would not tell you that.
So, go ahead. So the trash that you take from Gloucester, when we deposit our trash, there's a trash bin and then there's a trash with all metals and all that other stuff. Does that all go to the landfill?
Now, the metals goes to Middlesex Metals, and our recycling goes to GFL, and they send it to their MRF.
And the recycling program that we have here, which is really minimal, from what I understand, there's not much that gets recycled. And from what I understand, the stuff that goes into the plastics really sometimes has to be thrown out because people don't really watch what they put in. Is that correct? So what happens when that whole bin gets full and it has a lot of stuff that can't be recycled? Does that bin go to the landfill?
No, we have not sent any of it to the landfill. It goes to GFL, and they in turn do the sorting and the sorting out of it. We stage the cans in our overnight parking at the landfill before they go to GFL sometimes, because they're not open every day. So that may be where some of the misconception is. Someone sees a recycling truck going into the landfill, the can is getting staged until we take it to GFL.
And the other bins, the tires and then the trash, you know, the cuttings that people throw in there, those go to other places, right?
The tires?
The tires and the material that people have from their yard waste.
Yep. The tires they come into the landfill from the convenience centers. We load them into a tractor and trailer and they go to Virginia Tire Recycling is where they go.
What's the life at Bethel?
I do not know that.
You're the regional one, so you should know.
Yes, sir. So I'd have to look at the SWIA report, roughly 60 years. SWIA report's a solid waste
Bethel.
report. I apologize.
Excuse me?
It's a solid waste report.
Bethel, Big Bethel Road. But they didn't want to call it Big Bethel Landfill because that makes it sound like it's a big landfill. So they've got 60 years left there?
It roughly, in current volumes, a little less. Each one of these landfills would have a different site life remaining depending on the volumes.
I just didn't think it was 60 years left there. Because my thought is, it's either going to go here to Waverly.
So
once
Waverly
Bethel
has
closes.
more.
What's Waverly's life?
It's more than that. It's 70-ish, right, roughly, round numbers. So that's the reference in the disposal capacity between the number is roughly 260 years between our remaining Subtitle D landfills in Virginia, not including Middle Peninsula landfill. We have about 260 years of life remaining, rolled up together.
But, well, be critical. Why doesn't it say 260 plus years?
It says 200 years there. If you look in the...
I know, I read that. But
Okay, I apologize then.
So between Bethel at 60, 70, that's 130. So the other three have roughly 130 left.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Gloucester's only 36.
That's not part of this 260.
It
No,
is not.
It is not.
No, sir. What we're targeting there is, if your landfill options going forward, if your landfill were to close 30, 40, 50 years out, whenever it did, we have options at other facilities within Virginia to either have a transfer station on site here and move your volumes to another landfill, or to expand the existing landfill.
But that's at a cost to the county.
So I can't say that yet. I would not say that. Typically, all the permitting, we take care of that and the construction, but I can't tell you.
No, I'm saying once our landfill in the 36 or 40 years, whatever the life is left, once it's full, meet our capacity, then we're going to have to pay to dispose of it elsewhere.
Potentially, but it depends on what we do collectively as a partnership, what we do between now and then to mitigate that cost. So yes, you're correct, potentially.
If we were to do nothing tonight and say you're going to keep at these figures and it lasts whatever the numbers are, 36 years, at the end of 36 years, then we have to pay to dispose of it.
Currently, we would, about 25 to 30 years out, we would seek an expansion. And that would give you more airspace and more disposal capacity at the existing facility. Transfer stations, that's when you're done with everything, right? And typically, depending on the opportunities, we can expand the landfill significantly to buy you more life.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be evasive, I
I
apologize.
know you're not, but you're still not answering the question. I mean, if we expand it, I'm just saying, whenever this landfill life ends, we would have to pay to dispose of it.
That's a very distinct possibility, yes, sir.
Okay.
So, did you want to say something?
No, wait.
So, kind of reminds me of my cost plus fixed fee contracts that I used to manage. So let's figure that you're going to do the $2.1 million annually, and as Mr. I just forgot. I just lost my train of thought. Mr. Hutson just said, if you exceed your costs, are you going to potentially erode that $2.1 million come to our county because you need to absorb that? You need to make us absorb that cost if you do exceed, and it kind of reminds me of a share line contract, where if we exceed that amount, then our portion of the fees get eroded, because you now have to find other means of, it means additional cost to you, no additional cost to us other than the erosion of our annual fee coming from your company. So that also, I think, would have to be in writing, specifically in writing. I don't want to leave any loose ends on this contract. Your contract, which was issued in 1993, was a 70-year contract, I believe?
It was a 20-year contract that automatically renewed to the left.
But it was
of the
amended,
side.
yeah, it was amended, and you exercised the option to go to the 70 years. So, again, you know, I'm always a proponent, put it in writing, and if it's still not satisfactory to this board or the next board coming in 6 or 7 weeks, then I'm still concerned that we don't leave our taxpayers holding the bag for additional fees that were not anticipated, or that you can't specifically guarantee that they're not going to be anticipated. So, thank you.
Mr. Hutson?
So your green dots, which are your transfer stations currently listed, what is their average cost to their locality for operating that transfer station?
So it depends on the facility. Some of them we operate under contract to certain municipalities, so they've hired us to run their transfer station. Others we own, and then there would not, in that case, there is no contract or no cost to the municipality for our.
So the ones that you're charging municipality for, what's your average cost to that municipality?
I can't provide that off the top of my head. I apologize, but that's public. I mean, it's public knowledge. Those agreements are. We're able to get those to you if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
I also, when this came up years ago, and I think Mr. Wilmot and I were discussing it about the original contract, other localities are getting higher fees than Gloucester County is for dumping trash in their facility. So like Hampton, wherever you manage your other properties in the peninsula area. We don't get the same benefit that our other localities. And I've got some folks working in Hampton and Newport News to tell me what your dumping fees, or what the revenues are coming in as far as tonnage fees coming in, dunnage fees coming into to Hampton City Council or their Hampton Finance Department. So I'm trying to find out what that is. But I think years ago, they got significantly more fees coming into their coffers than we've ever gotten. We just got a minuscule, was it 0.00 something or another, 63 cents per ton, and they've got something like $2 or $3 per ton as far as fees coming into the county, their city. I think I remember that, but I'm 70 years old, and sometimes I might forget what those exact numbers are, but I think they were getting significantly more revenues from your company for doing that.
Yes, sir. Mr. Wilmot?
For the four very lucid points that Mr. Bazzani's pointed out over the course of his dissertations tonight, I would urge the county, from a legal perspective, not to approve this third amendment. First of all, the life expectancy of the landfill could decrease, probably won't, but it could, from 36 years to 20 years. Secondly, there's no increase in the tonnage fee that's offered in exchange for this increase in the allowable tonnage. Third, there's no requirements that's put in writing to expand the facility once its useful life has ended. And fourth, you have 3 new board members who are coming on board in January. Mr. Bazzani said all 4 of those things, and they're all absolutely correct, so please don't act tonight.
Well, Mr. Wilmot, I'm going to say this. I think if we're not going to vote on this or anything else, because we got 3 new board members coming in January, why don't we adjourn now and come back in January?
Done.
That's not the point. It's like appointing a new Supreme Court justice 1 month before a new president gets into office. Same thing.
Ms. Deal?
Just a couple comments I wanted to make, and also request. When we met in the office, and I not want to hold you to it, but I think you said it would be approximately 12 trucks more a day that would be on the road coming from 33. So at some point, that can be verified as to how much more traffic would come in. I think I may be mistaken, but I have definitely heard as far as the recycling goes, and I think it goes back years back when we met at Waste Management, that like dirty pizza boxes, you know, where people have the remnants left, things like that cause a whole container to be spoiled. So I think from a public education, it might be by the other company that does the ruling on it, but I know that there's a number of people that are interested in seeing more recycling. So that gets to the question or the request is if the board would like to have additional information or anything negotiated, whether it's a combination of things, that it would be nice to know what you'd be looking for. We get complaints about being closed on Sunday, and we get complaints, I get it probably once every 2 weeks, that we don't take glass. I've been kind of checking around with the neighbors who are using other companies, and they've been having some struggles on that. But when I think about how much glass is still used that gets potentially buried into the landfill, which would then fill it up faster, versus what the cost is to then recycle it, you know, I don't know what would matter to the board, but I think if you want us to, especially with Mr. Wilmot involved, to look at more information before, you know, bringing this back, it'd be good to have that feedback.
Hey, Ms. Steele, I think, if I'm correct, York County just did away with complete recycling. Is that correct?
They just extended their contract.
Are they bringing it back?
Yes,
Okay.
they did. There was a change, and I checked, they've all like renewed with the other company, and so, and I think I may be wrong on this, but I believe their citizens are paying for the recycling service as part of general fund, but I'm not positive of that, but that's what happens in a lot of communities and that don't have a landfill, and that's why recycling may, you know, go away for some of those, because it is an expense.
What are you,
Okay.
so roughly with the 12 trucks Ms. Steele talked about, it'd be about 240 tons.
That's exactly,
So
yes,
that's
sir.
about right.
Yes, sir.
But are you still looking at even if we were to do this, which there's too much to be done, but would you still be looking at the 6,000 tons daily limit? Because I know 4,000, but I know at one time you talked about having just the annual limit of the 660 and doing away with the 4,000.
Our DEQ permit actually specifies 4,000 tons a day also, so we would just match that permit.
Okay, because I know when we've talked before, during wet weather and cold, you can't get it down, so you don't have that tonnage anyway.
Yeah.
But I think what you need to do to make this somewhat more acceptable to the county in general is figure out a way to bring more recycling back and do a little bit more education. We've had that discussion on the phone about some of your staff, the lack of education and telling the people that, at least the Guinea Road transfer, why you were not taking paper in there. And I understand the glass just because it contaminates everything else. But if you were to have a different way of accepting some additional items and make sure that, you know, even the local trash haulers, if there was a way that they could do something with it, if they could take it to your place and then you transfer it or something. But the county is begging for recycling capability, which we don't offer. That's something that everybody wants.
Okay, anything from the board? Okay.
It'd be nice to see some additional information, as Mr. Hutson and I have suggested, because with what's being presented currently, there's not enough information available for me to make a decision of any possibility of which way to proceed, because there's too many unknowns.
And the other thing is, I know it would be, you'd have to get permitting and everything else to expand. But last time Mr. Jameson was here, I'd ask him what would be capacity once we expanded. I'm sure you've got some kind of drawings or some kind of ideas that would say if we were to develop these acreage, go higher and everything else,
We could probably get that.
We can provide that.
if you could give that to us and say, okay, well, it goes from the 30 years to another 80 years, then that would change thought process some. But I think there needs to be some kind of additional compensation for the county for you to increase your tonnage, an incremental increase with the tonnage.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a pleasure of the board to get some more information with and get Mr. Wilmot to review.
Yes, sir. Because there's no motion on the floor, there's no need to table.
Correct. Okay. All right, thank you then.
Thank you all for your
Thank you.
time this evening.
Okay, next on our agenda, request to proceed with application for the Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreational Community Flood Preparedness Grant. Mr. Barber.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for having me tonight. You know, as you can see if you read for the board package, this is about, as Mr. Smith mentioned, the Community Preparedness Flood Grant, in which we're looking to pursue a master plan for the Gloucester Point area. This kind of builds off the previous projects we've been working on in the area, the $2.4 million beach replenishment and all that we received, and also the Land Water Conservation Fund grant that we're hoping to hear back from sometime in December. This particular grant is due on December 1st and is a 90-10 match grant, so we have a projected cost of about $250,000, in which about $25,000 of that will be built into the FY27 operating budget, and that would be the county's portion, and the additional $225,000 would come from the grant, the actual grant match. I think it's important to note that, again, as of all of our grants, if we don't actually receive the grant, no actual county money would go into this project. And at the time, once the grant agreement comes in, we could always choose to not accept the grant, depending on how budget deliberations go in the budget season at that point. And of course, if we get the go-ahead to apply, we'll go through our normal grant process and run it through Mr. Wilmot's office. As you can see here, I just kind of want to flip through some of these pictures. This is kind of just showing it what we're actually looking at. Again, it's a stormwater and tidal flooding issue that we have here. You can see kind of on the left-hand side up here where, you know, it rains sometimes down there, and it might be up to a week before we can get the actual water out of the park and it's actually usable again. On the right there, obviously that's the most recent storm we had, and you can see it's way up on the road there, and these more the, I guess the rain flooding that comes in, and then as you can also see, you know, the sand and stuff gets pushed in, and it's just really a mess down there when we get this coastal flooding. So the reason why we kind of want to go the master plan route instead of trying to piecemeal these projects individually is just because there are just so many elements that need to be addressed. You know, we want to look at everything, including things like burying power lines, potentially raising the road, moving where the parking lots are, basically anything we can do to make that area more resilient, where, you know, in a stormwater event that the rain actually gets out of there, the rainwater, but then in a coastal, the water doesn't get stuck in there when it rolls back in. So we really kind of want to get a professional engineering firm to kind of come and look at all the options and really kind of lay out for us what direction we need to go. And again, this might be a situation where we relocate things, we build things in a more resilient model, and we're really open to anything. And the other good part about kind of going the master plan route is part of that gets built in there is it really allows for some community engagement part. So, you know, you have multiple opportunities where the public will get to have input on what they want to see there. And I can kind of go back and forth through any of these pictures if anybody has any questions, but that's pretty much all I have. And again, this is about $25,000 that we'd be looking at from the county's end.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
It looks like there's some diehard fishermen out there on that pier.
Yes, as you can see, we have the pier closed sign, and they walk right up to where the pier closed is and fish.
And if we were going to build a new facility, as we see with that, whatever you want to call that, the new facility would have probably been underwater as well, right?
So, you're talking about for the bathroom building or the...
Yeah, the proposal during the referendum was to build a new facility there on the beach.
Okay,
and
so...
that facility would probably be underwater right now, too.
So, I mean, part of what the grant we recently applied for the Land Water Conservation Fund is to raise that building up to help with that. Again, we're kind of looking at it from a perspective of how can we if we ever build new infrastructure for any of this, where should it be built so that we can kind of be more resilient to the situations that occur, so, yeah. But that building is planned to be raised as a part of the grant we applied for if we receive it.
Can I just clarify?
Yeah.
It's not that building, a building.
Yes, a building in its
We would
place,
not raise that
yes.
building.
We would, no, we would put a building in its footprint that's raised, yes. Yeah, it's a perfect picture that shows it right there.
That picture was posted more on Facebook.
I know,
than any picture.
Exactly, that's what these are all pulled off of Facebook, as you can see at the bottom, we have the photo credit there, so. Any questions or anything? There's a resolution to support this grant.
My question is, so we're applying for a grant to figure out how to spend the money from the other two grants?
So no, those other two grants that we previously applied for are kind of separate. We don't anticipate any of this to impact those two grants that we previously received. This is really looking at the park layout, the parking lots, everything down from the end of the Great Road to the pier to the boat ramp. You know, really, if we want to put a seawall in along the beach line and all that. So we don't anticipate anything with this plan to impact what our plans are for the other two grants.
I just thought I heard you mention master plan, so that's why I was asking.
Well, we would definitely, again, that property down there, as we know, we get complaints all the time about property that isn't ours. So there's a lot of hands in the pot in that area, and the reason why we kind of want to take the master plan is make sure all the plans that anybody else has, whether it's VIMS or anybody else, it all kind of flows together in our plan, so.
Okay. Any other questions?
So this new grant is for a master plan?
Yes.
So we're going after a master plan now after we've received two other grants for work to be done. I'm not following how we got to needing a third grant to fix a problem that we've known about for longer than I've been on the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, you can.
So it's not called a master plan, it's called a resiliency plan. And we might, slide that in at times, but the grant is for resiliency. The plan for the buildings already, we know they need to go up. But we've also known, and it's in our CIP, it's been in there in the past, that we need to address the grading. The grading has been just sort of dropped in there along with other kinds of things, like we need to improve the parking, but there's not a design for how to do that. This resiliency plan fits like a puzzle with, if the Land and Water Conservation Fund comes in, we know where that building's going to go, and everything else around it would then be designed properly. The fishing pier is a big issue, which, depending upon if we do or do not get this grant, you're going to hear more about this in the CIP, because this fishing pier is at end of life. So having this resiliency plan where we can get free advice for something that needs to be done, that's worked all in, and again, with the VEMS study that's been done on how the shoreline goes, we already have that, but that protects the shoreline, but it stops at that point. So this resiliency plan looks at everything. The seawall, we don't even know how well that is holding up. And so by having the study, whether that's sending scuba divers down, whether, all of these things that we don't have the money to figure out, and how to make it resilient and if it is resilient. So I would hate for anybody to think it's going out of order.
JJ would die for nothing. Oh, yeah, right.
That's some fast moving water there too.
Yeah, I need some dives.
Okay, Mr. Gibson?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have to say, I'm continue to be confused as to why there's a consistent pushback on improving the only publicly accessible beach in Gloucester County that 150,000 people use per year, and it clearly is not up to par. We're dealing with flooding. We need to, as a board, provide recreational opportunities for our citizens, for our guests, And this is a key piece in the puzzle to make that happen at a very low price if we are able to get the grant. So I think we should do everything we can to make this a showpiece for our county, for our residents to use it. And I'm just kind of baffled as to why this is something that should be problematic. Yes, we need to be good stewards of our money, but it seems like every time the Gloucester Point Beach comes up, it's not the right time, not a good use of the money. Why are we doing this? It's a great use of our funds. It's a great use of our funds to provide an outstanding recreational location for residents to use and enjoy. And so I would, unless there's further discussion, I would move adoption of the resolution on page 137.
I have further discussion.
Oh, yes, sir.
I'm not against this project, and it's not even, I don't even think it's, how do I say this without sounding like I don't know. But it seems to me that the issuance of these other grants, all these state agencies with these fancy abbreviations and everybody that's new there and everywhere else, it seems like they issue these in an order that doesn't make sense. We've got the money for this, but now there's more money to look at the resiliency portion of it. And I think it's more the state agencies probably should have put these out in a different order for us to apply for. And it may be that it was available at some other point, but we didn't think we could pull this off. We've got the money to do this, and it's a fantastic thing. And I'm not faulting staff. I think that this just shows our state agencies aren't necessarily doing the things always in the right order to benefit the people that pay the bills, is my issue. And I'm all for it. I was going to second what Mr. Hutson needed to.
So, yeah, maybe to remove some of this disconnect, since we've got a number of grant applications in, several which have not been funded, correct? We've got.
Yes, correct. We're waiting on one of them.
So
We
it
hope
might
here
be
in December.
worthwhile
But
just to give us a synthesis of each one of these and a timeline, like which of these projects, which of these proposals actually puts workers on the ground. I think that's what we really want, is we want work to be done. We've talked about these issues. So when do we get work done? And which of these, now this one that we're voting on is for a planning.
correct.
But what we really want, I think, is something that actually puts an improvement that people can see that helps the users there use it more often and more, it's more friendly.
Shovel-ready project.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other two grants are grant projects that actually like tangible work that we will see out of it.
And I
This
know-
particular
I know
one won't be.
The
but-
last time we voted, if I'm correct, one of those has a much higher match.
Yes, it
which
did.
we were concerned, I know Mr. Chriscoe
Yep.
expressed some concern about that. So it might be good just for the board to have that, and again, for the new board members coming in, just to know where we are. And, I agree with Mr. Gibson, it is the only public beach in all of Gloucester County. The other places where people can launch boats, they're also very inadequate. This is the only one that provides reasonable access to the York River, Mobjop Bay, and the Chesapeake. The one at Warehouse Landing, that's the other one that's got limited capacity, but it's no beach. This is the only, and, this is where we got a public pier. I mean, that place gets packed. So, and, that's again something that we're gonna have to look at, because one big storm and it's gone. So, again, still maybe, I think this thing is gonna pass, but let's perhaps for us and the future board members kind of see where all this fits in like a puzzle.
Yeah, and the explanation that I received tonight from Ms. Steele and Mr. Barber, I mean, this is probably the most logical next step, but knowing that we've already received one and we've already applied for another, I'm going, it seems like we're putting the cart before the horse if we want to use this one to make sure we do everything right with the other two, so we don't get to halfway through the second project if we get it and go, oh crud. If we had gone 6 inches higher, we wouldn't have this inch, but I think this one is going to make sure we get everything right before these other two start, especially if we were to receive it. And I think it's the best case scenario. It's just odd in how it's come about.
Mr. Nicosia?
Mr. Barber, two questions. If you didn't get this grant, if you don't get it,
Yep.
let's say we apply for it, we don't get it. Do we have a backup plan as far as how we would proceed without the grant money as far as planning is concerned? That's number one. I'll give you two parts and then I'll leave you alone. Second thing is, as a citizen of Gloucester County, not as a board member, just as a citizen, I don't use Gloucester Point Beach, and the reason I don't use Gloucester Point Beach is because it is very difficult for a person in a wheelchair to use the beach. So if we're going to do projects at the beach, I would respectfully ask that at some point, when looking at that, could we look at some sort of access, access that would allow your disabled community, not just me, but the community as a whole, and older folks, to be able to safely get down to the water. I can see the water. It looks pretty. Yet I can't get to the water, you know. And that's why, as Ms. Gibson said, we should be, and I agree with all of that. But for future planning, and I meant to say that the last time you were up here, for future planning, could we at least add that to the list of things that we look at? If we're going to modify the beach, let's modify it for everybody.
And to your first point, you know, as far as planning, if we don't get this grant, obviously we put some of these projects in the CIP and we have plans to do all of them. You know, it's just a matter of we're going to have to piecemeal a lot more putting them together if we don't ever get a planning grant to actually put it all together. But separate from that, we do have plans in our boardwalk and all that we do have kind of constructed. We do have plans for ADA access for all that. The new building we plan to put in, we're hoping to make all of that ADA accessible all the way around. So that definitely is on our minds.
So, real quick question. In your county, their beach, they have these, they look like flexible mats that they use for ADA purposes.
Yeah, a Moby mat. Yeah, we have one of those down there.
We do have one?
Yes, but it really, it just goes straight down. It's a straight shot right from one area to go right down to the water. But we're limited. We don't have as many as they do, and we don't have quite the infrastructure there. But we do have one there, yep.
Okay, any more questions? We had the resolution, motion, second. Ms. Steele?
Mr. Chriscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bazzani?
Yes.
Mr. Nicosia?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Dr. Orth? Mr. Hutson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks.
Palmer. Okay, next, we have a resolution to approve a mural agreement between the Cook Foundation and Gloucester County. Ms. Steele, along with Ms. Blackney.
Yes. You go ahead and start.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having us on the agenda. I know that it seems a bit early since we don't have drawings yet. You guys, I emailed a presentation to Trish. I didn't realize she wasn't in. So Whitney is going to get you guys copies of the presentation. It's pretty simple. This will be the 7th mural the Cook Foundation has done in our 25 years here in Gloucester in the Main Street area. We looked at a lot of different muralists all over the country, and we ended back with Michael Rosado, whose bio is in the packet. He did the T.C. Walker mural. One of the reasons we wanted to go back to Michael is that he's really, really good at understanding community. He listens really well. He worked very transparently the last time and listened and brought feedback back to us about the content of the mural. And we want to make sure that this really celebrates everything that Gloucester is from 1651 to 1781. So next year is VA 250. So this mural fits into the 250th celebration. So we really wanted to make sure that we highlight all of Gloucester's history, not just the stuff that we already have, but really that journey about, the theme this year is America Made in Virginia. Cheryl Wilson, who is the VA 250 person, was pretty excited about it. I saw her at the Williamsburg chamber event with VA 250 a couple of weeks ago. And this mural really gives us an opportunity to highlight things like the Battle of the Hook, which technically is 1781 and after the Declaration of Independence celebration, but we know how momentous that occasion was for everybody in America's freedom. And we also know that that is one of the best attended events that has ever commemorated Gloucester history here. And so we wanted to make sure that any mural we did next year, that it really reflected the power and the sacrifice and the amazing work that people in Gloucester County have done for the last 250 years. And since our founding. So we'll make sure you guys have a copy of this. It's very simple. It will be very patriotic themed. It'll be very inclusive, but it'll also tell a lot about our history. He's gonna make sure, he's got inspiration from the watermen to make sure that we're really looking at all of the pieces that make Gloucester, Gloucester. So he'll look at watermen, he'll look at crabs, all of our natural wildlife that is unique to us, and as well as the people who served in the military. He's got period accurate uniforms. Carol has been great in sharing resources that the county had available to them that commemorate the and give us the exact versions of uniforms, so that if he depicts soldiers from the Revolutionary War era, that they are accurate to what was worn here in Gloucester, not just somewhere in America, but that everything will be local to Gloucester in this. Yes?
I think Ms. Steele sent us some prospective designs.
Yes.
I kind of voted on the one with the soldiers coming down a path or something like that, if I remember. Is that one of your designs in the packet?
Yes, it is. So those, that folder has a lot of photos and paintings, and then there's a wallpaper that we got from the Jamestown Yorktown Foundation that we took a picture. We went through an art storage tour of theirs, and it depicts Gloucester during the American Revolution. And so it will be very much in that theme. Michael just got back from Florence, Italy, where he's been working much of the year. And so he literally got back 2 days ago. So he's gonna be working on a sketch. We, of course, we worked with Ted on the memo on our language to make sure that you guys get to approve whatever goes on to the mural, not withholding approval unreasonably, but the one thing we know about Michael is he's gonna deliver something really extraordinary and something that's special. So we feel like we're very comfortable with the language that's in the contract, and we wanted to get moving so we can go ahead and contract Michael so we don't lose our spot on his calendar.
Sounds like we're contracted with Mr. Michelangelo.
He's pretty amazing.
Yes, sir, Dr. Orth.
Yeah, okay, so these murals, I really like them. They're really great. And the ones that depict different things are super. But something that I hadn't thought about, and it came up with a conversation of one of our future board members, the paint. How long will these murals last before they may need a little bit of tweaking? Is it a special paint that lasts
It is.
a long time, so that nothing needs to be done to them? Just out of curiosity.
So the Cook Foundation, so part of our agreement with the county is that we'll ensure that they're maintained for the life of them being on those walls. So we undertake all of the cost. We're paying, the county is lending us a wall, and we're undertaking all of the cost. So the preparation, the installation, and maintenance of all of those murals, we take care of that in perpetuity.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, and it is special paint. So Michael and some of the other muralists use a very unique mineral-based paint that is meant to last for more than a century. So the iconic women's mural of the women from Gloucester, that mural is made with a different paint, and it also lasts for about 100 years.
I just want to make sure that the murals are here while Mr. Bazzani is still alive.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
So will the new mural face the sun, for instance?
It's on the Bay Aging Building, and we have a number of buildings on the street that have full direct sun, and that doesn't impact the pigment.
It does not impact the fading or anything like that?
It does not. It doesn't impact the pigment in the paints. That's why he uses the mineral base.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve, Mr.
Approve. There's a resolution. It's a resolution on page.
Mr. Hudson had a question. He
Okay,
said,
go
was I
ahead,
good with
question.
it? Well, it was tweaked, and it was tweaked to my liking. And my liking is, it marries with the county's interests. That is, I want to minimize the county's responsibilities. I want to maximize our protections. That's what my job is, and that's what I try to do every day. It's really close to doing those. It does require that you keep the mural up there for 10 years or more. My main remaining concern was the content of the mural. The agreement's better now than it was. Initially, the agreement was that the content of the mural was totally up to the Cook Foundation. I love the Cook Foundation. God knows you know I do. It's
You volunteer
valuable.
for us every year.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
volunteer every year. And so please don't get this wrong. But I wanted to make sure that nothing in or on the mural was objectionable to the county, because it's possible, maybe only a 2% chance, but it's possible that something in the ultimate design of the mural is objectionable to one or more of you gentlemen, or one or more of the 6 future and 1 lady on the board. And I don't want that to happen. I just really don't. So now, as you pointed out, you have the right to object to the design. I wanted ideally that the design would be out there ahead of time so you could see it. Apparently, that's not feasible. So for whatever reason, I have faith, which is surprising at this late stage, that I still have faith. I'm hoping that the 2%, 1% chance that there's something objectionable isn't going to happen. The agreement does say there's nothing political or religious.
Correct.
I love religion, by the way, but I don't like politics. So I'm happy about that. The only thing that's not, yes, nothing woke. The only thing that remains is not a legal concern is Gloucester has a lot of beautiful murals. There comes a point of saturation. So, but that's not a legal thing. That's a political thing. So I'm comfortable with you approving this agreement.
Thanks, Ted.
Mr. Wilmot, I'm a little disappointed. You had faith, hope, but no charity in that.
I'm a lawyer. I have no charity.
He does, he volunteers for us, so he did do the charity. I would note that Mr. Rosado has agreed to come in February, where he will come. He's happy to present the mural, walk you through his initial sketch, and if we have feedback, he will take it. And so anything that, if there is something in that 1 or 2% that Ted mentioned, then he and we will be happy to ensure that that's addressed before it's installed, for sure. So hopefully we will have the design before the end of the year. So, but he will come in person and present it. He just got back from Italy, so he's been doing teaching and installing murals in Florence. So he just got back day before yesterday. He says hopefully by the end of November. I'm saying by the end of December because I would much prefer to underpromise and overdeliver to you all.
Okay. All right. A resolution on page 191. You made the motion, second?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Steele.
Mr. Bazzani? Yes. Mr. Nicosia? Yes. Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Dr. Orth? Mr. Hutson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chriscoe?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Thank you all so much.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Okay, next on our agenda, the discussion and adoption of the county's 2026 legislative agenda. Ms. Steele.
Yes, the agenda is in the packet, and since I sent it out to you all again, and we discussed it at the joint meeting, I haven't had any additional feedback. If y'all are good to go with it, then there is a resolution on page 196.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Who's second? Ms. Steele.
Okay, Mr. Nicosia?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Dr. Orth? Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chriscoe?
Yes.
And Mr. Bazzani?
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, moving on to board appointments. Let's see, we have 1 vacancy still for the Board of Equalization, and everyone else is being reappointed. So, do we have
Mr.
any
Chair,
vacancies?
I do not. Oh, except for Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, I will make the motion to reappoint everyone who is asking for reappointment.
You can include it.
And I will include Parks and Rec Advisory Committee member as well.
Okay, been moved in second. Moved, do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. All in, what's the vote? favor? Aye. Here we go. Okay, moving on. County Attorney items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to congratulate the newly elected members of the board, Dr. Lemming, Ms. Hanson, and Mr. Bonneville. I look forward to working with them. What I ask is that we do away with the hatred and vitriol, and we focus on the love. Thank you. Tremendously.
Hey, Mr. Boards and commission reports, are there any?
Go ahead.
Dr. Orth?
Oh, yes, the award that, yeah, we won the award for an outstanding PDC. It has been, it's been good. I mean, we got a great group up there. The new executive director is going to do some great things for us. And we're going to get a lot of cool things happening on the Middle Peninsula with Mr. Lawrence's new role and Ms. Peabody being there. It's going to be, we're going to see a lot of positive change for our whole region.
Okay, great. Okay, supervisor discussions, any supervisor discussion, that was it? That was it, or nothing else? Okay, we have a closed meeting. Mr. Wilmot, will you read us?
Yes, sir.
End our closed meeting.
Whereas the Gloucester County Board of Supervisors desires to discuss a particular subject in closed meeting during the course of its meeting on November 5th, 2025. That's Back to the Future. And whereas the nature of the subject is personnel matters, more specifically the county administrators and county attorneys' evaluations. Such discussion in closed meeting is expressly permitted by Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1. Now therefore be it resolved that the Gloucester County Board of Supervisors does hereby convene in closed meeting for the purpose herein expressed pursuant to the legal authority herein recited.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Nope.
Nope, vote.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Dr. Orth?
Yes.
Mr. Hutson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chriscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bazzani?
Yes.
Mr. Nicosia? Yes. Closed session.
Present.
County Board of Supervisors has completed its discussion in closed meeting and now desires to continue its open meeting, and whereas only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting were heard, discussed, or considered during the closed meeting, and the only subjects heard, discussed, or considered in said closed meeting were the matters identified in the resolution by which it was convened. Now therefore be it resolved, the Gloucester County Board of Supervisors does hereby reconvene an open meeting at its meeting of November 5th, 2025, and certifies the matter set forth in Virginia Code Section 2.2-3712D.
Dr. Orth? Yes. Mr. Hutson? Yes. Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Chriscoe? Yes. Mr. Bazzani? Yes. Mr. Nicosia?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.